Hey everyone, Andre here along with Joey, Tris, and Tom to give our overall thoughts on Nintendo in 2021. We're doing a full month-by-month breakdown of everything that happened for Nintendo throughout the year. There is a lot to get through because it seems like everything that was delayed in 2020 due to the pandemic got pushed into 2021. So it was a very busy year, and of course that's not even covering all the, to even mention all the stuff that it wasn't even specifically game-related. So we've got a lot to kind of get through and rediscuss, and I think there's some interesting insights to come from this, looking back on it, potentially a year out now. So before we get to it though, let's give our overall thoughts and feelings on 2021 as a year in general for Nintendo. Tris, what did you think of Nintendo this year overall?
This year was huge, honestly. Like Bowser in the background here.
Very
this
much.
year was huge.
Perfectly fitting.
With Bowser's Fury to nearly open up the year in February, but very specifically, when you look back at 2020, it already felt pretty big as you had some major releases despite the pandemic. But then you look at this year, and there was so much more. There was barely any slowdown this year. Even times when Nintendo's normally known for having less, they still had stuff this year. And it was pretty wild to keep up with, actually.
Yeah, it was. There was a lot to do to get through. Although it's funny you mentioned Wild, because there wasn't a whole lot Breath of the Wild this year, despite us hoping it might have been.
At least we finally saw more of it.
We did see a little bit more, yeah, a little bit more, that's true. Joey, what did you think of Nintendo 2021?
It was pretty good.
Nice.
It was awesome. Yeah, by the way, this was a gift given to me by my wife. She got it on eBay. It was awesome. But yeah,
That's
it was
nice.
great for... It was great... I think, to me, it was great for Metroid fans, especially. But I can see why some fan bases of other games kind of felt burned this year, especially with the lack of Zelda. And I think with Metroid Dread being like the only big holiday release aside from Pokemon, which is like kind of its own, sort of in its own thing. But I'd say this year has been pretty solid. Maybe not so much in the holiday range, unless you're a Metroid fan again. But hey, if you haven't played Metroid, just play Metroid Dread. You're gonna love it.
Exactly. It is funny that we're ending the year with something with Dread in the title, like during the happy holidays. Like, let's enjoy some Dread together.
It's like, hey guys, you looking for that fun family holiday game?
Metroid Dread.
How about you, Tom? How do you think Nintendo fared in 2021?
Well, Metroid, I mean, it's got red on it. It's Christmassy. Come on.
Hey, exactly.
Yeah, true.
I think 2021, Nintendo did a great job avoiding any droughts. You could almost say the drought kind of happened at the end of the year when there was only a Big Brain Academy and with no Advance Wars. And
Delayed, yeah.
some nice nods to their back catalog, too. So, kind of a refreshing, slightly different year. And good on them to keep the amount of titles coming off the pandemic. Or in a pandemic still, but...
Yeah, I know. It's still weird that we're still going through this thing. I think Nintendo actually had quite a good year. I would say it didn't have a ton in the way of like AAA releases, or some might say that, outside of like Metroid Dread and possibly arguably Bowser's Fury. But I think they did a great job of kind of filling in the gaps. There's like a lot of slightly smaller titles, and I thought that was fine. I had a consistent supply of games to play throughout the year, and it never felt like, as we were saying just now, that there was ever a drought during this. This is actually probably one of Nintendo's more even years, I would say, in providing constant experiences. And that's not even to touch on the third-party games that were also coming out, many of which were truly great. So, on that note, we're going to be talking about many of those games as we go through this month by month, starting with January. And we started off the year with in a kind of big way, but with a brand new trailer for Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, which started to show off a little bit more, which gave us a better look at the game. And of course, I think it was already leading up to what will end up being a really great game. We'll be talking more about that in February. Then we got the announcement on the same day, being January 12th, of there being a new upcoming Mario Red and Blue Switch. So the Joy-Cons came in typical Mario Red and Blue colors, and it'll be releasing alongside Bowser's Fury, again coming the next month.
The Switch itself was red. The Switch itself was also red.
Oh, was it red? Okay.
We didn't have a lot of those, so that was
I have
kind
not
of a big
seen
deal,
one of those in person yet, so that sounds cool though. Then we had a new Pokemon Snap trailer on the 14th. And then, just a day later, we had the final Splatoon 2 Splatfest, being Super Mushroom versus Superstar in celebration of Mario's 35th anniversary. That's right, it got continued into this year. And the thing we didn't know, though, is with that effectively ending Splatoon 2's content, as far as we know, Just a month later, we would get the announcement of Splatoon 3, and we'll be touching on that more in February. I just think that's so interesting.
They wasted no time. They were like, right away, don't worry, guys, we got you covered.
Exactly.
Poor Splatoon fans had to wait so long for the next glimmer of hope.
Exactly.
They wouldn't understand, like Metroid fans.
No, they wouldn't. Or Advance Wars fans.
Yeah, but I think everyone's wondering, like, well, was Splatoon 2 ending, like, what's that mean? Like, it's a big game for Nintendo, and then, of course, Splatoon 3.
Well,
That's what
Splatoon 2 had been done, in quotes, for, like, most of 2020. Like, I'm pretty sure the proper, in quotes, final Splatfest of Chaos versus Order was in, like, 2019. But this was the first, like, new Splatfest specifically for the Mario anniversary. This was, like, an extra big deal, basically.
That's true. That is a good point. So it was like a new beginning and also new ending for Splatoon 2.
Sure.
And that's it, right? There's been no more Splatfest since then, right?
Nope.
Yep. All right. Moving on January 27th, we had the announcement of Monster Hunter Rise Special Edition along with the Pro Controller, which I think looked pretty cool as a set.
Yeah. It was a little weird that, like, it was, like, not too long after, here's your nice red Mario Switch, but also, here's a Monster Hunter Switch. Right. They started releasing a few too many of those, and it's, oh boy, I feel bad for people that really want all these, because what are you going to do with that many Switches? It's
especially unfortunate for the people picking up for maybe first or whatever Switch number that was for you. Little do we know we would be getting a better version of the Switch just a little bit later in the year. Well, a fair amount bit later in the year, but still the same year, being a Switch OLED, of course. So I would have been a bit bummed if I dropped a bunch of money and be like, oh, darn, I could have had a better unit, if I held off a little bit longer. Something else that interestingly happened on the same day, being the 27th, is that the official Rabbids Twitter from Ubisoft changed their profile to @MarioRabbids. And at the time, we were like, what's going on here? You covered this, right, Tris?
I don't remember if I was the person to cover this originally. I think I helped spot it. I think Joey might have been the one.
Me, yeah.
This was just weird.
So straight. Who got fired that day? That's what I want to know, 'cause someone messed up.
Wait, it wasn't just on Twitter, as I recall. So I think it was on Facebook too. It was like
all of their
rebranding.
And their website would only lead to the page for Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. They completely rebranded to just Mario Rabbids for such a short amount of time. And what's even weirder is, well, because obviously we treated that as, maybe this is all a tease to an upcoming game, which eventually at E3 we did see. We'll talk more about that later. They didn't go back to that stuff after the reveal. So whatever happened here was I wouldn't say mistake, because it was clearly intentionally done across everything.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah. I don't think there's a single button you put. Maybe there is. Maybe there was a single button you push to just update every social media feed you have. But that seems. I am thinking now, in hindsight, especially that a few months later, we finally got the announcement of what that game would be, being Sparks of Hope, which we speculated would be happening. I think there were some leaks in the not too distant future from this point, suggesting that they were making a new game. If not, even that already at this point. I can't fully remember the timeline here.
Ubisoft leaking games? That never happens.
Well, and that's actually kind of what I was getting at. I wonder if in this case it was intentional. Like, if they wanted to start planting the seeds of there being a sequel, to start building a little bit of hype for it.
Planting those seeds of hope.
Exactly, that's it.
There you go.
All right, to switch gears a little bit, on January 28th, near the end of the month, we got news that Roger Craig Smith would no longer be voicing Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah, the internet blew up. That was actually a tame version of the internet's reaction there, Joey. The internet did not like this.
Mm-hmm.
This was also really weird, because this was a case of, like, on one hand he claimed he chose to step down when he did, but there was also I don't know if I can come back, guys, that's up to them. And there was this whole weirdness surrounding that, because it also led to other Sonic character voice actors coming forward saying, oh yeah, we're done with our characters too. Some are somewhere, and it was a weird time.
So weird, especially in hindsight, but we'll get to that later if we're going to talk about how all of a sudden everyone has their jobs back.
Now. That's fine. We can talk about that now, but I think it's interesting how it does contrast with it. Like, how this news,
Didn't the voice actor for Tails, Colleen O'Shaughnessy, say she's not voicing Tails anymore? And then months later says she's in the movie.
She specifically said she wasn't in Sonic Prime.
Sonic Prime.
That was the only one that she wouldn't be, but I think she said she'll still be doing it for the games. It was Amy's voice actress that said she wouldn't be. voicing Amy
and that became a lie
Yeah.
too. Not a lie, but it just something happened behind the scenes, definitely. But then I guess this is just me spitballing. Probably none of this happened, but they probably saw the fan reaction and said, we can't do this, or they worked out a deal behind the scenes or something. It's weird because, Sonic voice actors, the opinions change all the time.
Right.
First, people didn't like Roger, now they love Roger. It's interesting. They're very
I think what probably happened was contracts ended, and there wasn't any sign of renewing them for that time because they weren't far enough along to dub Sonic Frontiers at the time.
Yeah.
So they didn't approach anybody with new contracts. So when the contracts are up, they just assumed, okay, we're done. And they didn't really know what was coming after that. But there also might have been like production changes or like changes in management or something happening higher up that they didn't get to this sooner. So it became this bigger deal than it probably was originally meant to be.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll ever fully know what happened there, whether Sega was planning a change in direction for the voice cast, whether they were trying to save money perhaps, or whether it was just contract disputes. And this is just, because we've seen this before on the Hollywood side of things, where an actor will be like, I don't think I'm coming back, and then they end up coming back anyway because they got paid a ton of money for it,
Tom Holland.
I don't know if that's the case here or not. It's just one of the many possibilities that could have happened, so...
Yeah, it's weird stuff. I'll shoot Roger a message, ask him, yo, what happened?
There we go.
That,
We're running out of
that would be that would be a really interesting interview to have, though. Not like with Roger, with people at Sega, just to know what happened. Then,
I've interviewed Roger twice. I'm sure I can get a third one. Don't watch my first interview. Don't look it up.
So we'll be getting to it soon, but I believe it was in May when it was announced that he was coming back as the voice of Sonic, which is actually way longer than I remembered. I thought that was a quicker turnaround originally.
Eggman came back, I believe, earlier.
That was it. Yeah, Eggman was first,
You
right?
can't get rid of Eggman.
I think he confirmed he wasn't leaving, but it was later than everyone else had their stuff. So it was okay. Well, someone's staying. That's weird, but yeah.
Well, it's just because he's been voicing Eggman for almost 20 years at this point too. So yeah, when everyone else was recast to LA talent, he stuck around, which was interesting. So I don't know.
And I remember this reminds me of part of some of the theories that are coming up. It's like, are they going to get the movie cast now to voice these characters? Being Ben, what's his name?
Ben Schwartz.
Ben Schwartz, thank you. And then, going off of that, is Jim Carrey going to voice Dr. Robotnik or Eggman in the movie?
I hope.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
The thing about Ben Schwartz is, he's more famous than Roger Cakesmith, whatever that means, but he's done a lot of voice work in a lot of cartoons. He's not super hard to get. So I feel like that would be reasonable if he was going to be the voice in the games, but doesn't look like that's the case, which is fine.
Indeed. So that wraps up for January, so let's go ahead and move into February now, where we start off on February 1st with the news that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe officially outsold the Wii version, to become the best-selling game in the series, which is ridiculous for any number of reasons. One, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is a port. It's not even an original Mario Kart game. Second, Mario Kart Wii sold an absurd amount. I think 40 million units, partially because, one, it was on the Wii, where a ton of games sold ridiculously well, and it was one of the best-selling Wii games, and it came with the amazing, to me, steering wheel. You can turn the carts. I loved it.
I loved that too.
Yeah, thank you, appreciate that. So yeah, this is pretty big. It was pretty exciting to see a new Mario Kart game take the throne, even if it wasn't in a proper Mario Kart sequel. But it was still big news.
I wasn't surprised when I heard it, because this game just keeps selling crazy, and we're never getting Mario Kart 9.
Nope.
We have 9. It's tour anyway.
Oh god.
No, it felt like an inevitability that it was going to outsell it, but I guess I didn't expect it to happen yet. So when this news came out, it was surprising to me. It's like, wow, it finally did it. It happened now. And Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is a fantastic game. This isn't to knock Mario Kart Wii. It's just it really puts into perspective how well the Wii was selling back in the day and how well the Switch is selling now. And Mario Kart is always the flagship title to mark how well a console's doing at this rate. So it really put it into good perspective, I think.
I think part of the surprise too is just because Animal Crossing is doing so well. We kind of heard about that mostly, but Mario Kart was still doing well that whole time. So.
So I think part of the reason why, Joey, we're never going to get a Mario Kart 9 is because Mario Kart 8 logo, if you turn the 8 sideways, is an infinity logo. It's just going to go on forever.
Mario Kart Infinite? So they're going to have grappling hooks?
And open world, yes.
Oh, man.
And that character from Sonic.
There we go.
The character from Fortnite? Master Chief?
Well, speaking of Sonic Tris, another announcement that day was that Sonic Prime, we got the announcement of a Sonic Prime animated series that would be coming in 2022. So, obviously it hasn't happened yet, but didn't they show off a little bit of it? Or...
No, so they showed off the logo, and then later in the year, I don't remember if it was leaked or officially revealed, but we had concept art shown off as well. So we don't really know much about it yet, other than Sonic's exploring some different worlds, potentially different universes.
Into
Sonic's
the Sonicverse.
Yeah, there you go. Sonic's also going multiversal now. But it's interesting. 'Cause I know they said it's not following a specific game story or anything like that, and it excited people hearing about this because it's been a while since we had a Sonic cartoon like this that wasn't just based on a game. Looking at Sonic Boom.
Right. And the Sonic Boom cartoon is kind of taken on its own life too. People love the Sonic Boom cartoon. My roommate watches it every day, basically.
It's so funny. It's just my middle name's Danger. I thought your middle name was The. That was so clever.
I wish Nintendo would go all in on this themselves. They used to be the king of video game cartoons with the Mario Super Show, Mario 3, and Mario World, and now
Kirby
they totally ignore
right
it.
back at you.
Kirby right back at you, yeah. We need to get Nintendo to make their own version of Sonic Prime or whatever, Mario Prime. Let's get Mario Prime out there.
Metroid Prime.
Yeah.
Metroid. Yeah, there we go.
Can we go back to the days of the rumored Zelda Netflix show?
Yes. God, that was 5 years ago. No, 6 years ago at this point. Oh my God.
Still waiting.
No, 7 years ago from the initial rumor.
Oh my God. No, don't tell me that, Andre.
I know. I remember because I was in Vegas on my 30th birthday for the announcement of that thing that never happened.
Wow.
Which didn't we find out later it got canceled because of the leaks?
It got canceled because of the
That's
leaks.
so
Yep.
petty.
But that was
That's
Star
so
Fox,
awful.
though.
Petty.
Star Fox.
Oh
I
wow,
thought.
people are
Was
excited
it Star
for this.
Fox?
Was it Star Fox? What?
I thought a Star Fox project got canceled or something like that.
Maybe
Because of a leak.
I'm not sure, but it's just
I know-
people are really excited for the show. Let's cancel it because it got leaked.
Yeah.
So sad.
That is so petty.
Assuming that's accurate. In any case, I just want a Nintendo show. Zelda would be great. Mario, I'll take whatever. It doesn't matter.
No.
All right, on February 5th, we had the 20th anniversary of Paper Mario, which kind of came and went, except Paper Mario has just been re-released now on Nintendo Switch Virtual Console, the expansion pack on the N64 Online service, which is, I forgot it was the 20th anniversary, so it's perfectly fitting that it's finally here now. A little bit late, but hey, it made it just in time for the cutoff of the year.
Yeah, no, and it's great, honestly. I love Paper Mario, so I'm glad that even though Nintendo recognized it back then, they had a nice tweet about it, they didn't do anything about it. I'm glad that we got the game this year, and I wonder if that might be why. It was one of the first games added to the N64 NSO service, and I wonder if it's to make that cutoff date, just before the year ended. Probably not, but it is something nice. And I'm sure we have plenty to say about other anniversaries in here. We have a whole anniversary section in our notes here. I think that's easier.
Yeah. Go ahead, Tom.
I bet it's partially too because it's a bit longer content for people to play
Yeah.
on the service. But as you know, there are 64 reasons to play it. So
Yep, Tris made a whole video about it.
Click
and
the card right here or right here, wherever I am.
I always screw it up
such a
too.
fun
It's like, let's go this way. There we go. Somewhere up there.
Somewhere up top, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No,
In
that was
short,
a really
play
fun
Paper
video to put
Mario.
together.
It's a great game. It still holds up. Probably better than most 64 games, so definitely check it out. On February 12th, speaking of Mario, we had the release of Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, which is, it not only was a complete game originally in this form of Super Mario 3D World, but they included a whole second campaign with Bowser's Fury that was also co-op enabled. I love this game. It was my game of the year. That's hopefully up by now, so spoilers if not, if you haven't watched it. And I thought it was great. That's basically 2 games in one, which is remarkable. And one of those games is both games are arguably awesome, but Bowser's Fury is way better than it has any right to be. And I had a complete blast with it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's really great game.
It was really good. But yeah, I liked it a lot too. I just wish it was longer, which I hope, this is the blueprint for the next 3D Mario, whether that's Odyssey 2 or not. I just wanted more. I felt like it was very much a proof of concept game, especially with the setting being on a lake filled with islands. I kind of want more production value put in there, but again, it's an expansion to an already existing game, so there you go.
Maybe a blueprint for a Donkey Kong game.
I think it'd be a blueprint for like any number of games. Like I thought it was pretty ingenious putting these like somewhat limited 3D levels in a broader space. So like it gives you a few options to approach level, or if you fall off, you just can walk back to the beginning. It was a really cool idea, and I think Sonic could benefit from it, though they're very clearly not doing that for Frontiers, which I think looks great by itself, so maybe they don't need to. February 16th, we had the first proper Nintendo Direct announcement for the first time in a year. It had been forever since one of these, and it was announced for the following day, being February 17th, in which we got the announcement of Pyra and Mythra for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. We found out that Fall Guys is coming to Switch, which we now know has been delayed to next year. Outer Wilds was announced for the Switch, also delayed. Famicom Detective Club remakes were announced for Switch and out shortly thereafter. Mario Golf Super Rush was announced. Then we found out more about No More Heroes 3. Miitopia on Switch announced here? Was this the announcement? Yep. Okay, yep. Miitopia on Switch was announced. We found out Animal Crossing was getting Super Mario items, which we didn't know about before as part of the anniversary. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity got DLC. Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD was announced with the special Joy-Cons that came with it, or could come with it, and the Splatoon 3 was revealed. Looking back on this Direct was remarkable. This Direct was nuts.
This had a lot for everyone, and we didn't even go over every announcement. We just went over some of the major highlights out of it. Right. This was big even back then, and I know some people have been talking, like looking back on this year already and naming this as like one of their favorite directs ever. Like there was so much in this, and it was paced really well, and I think it was Nintendo coming into the year swinging, really showing like, hey, we had a quiet year. There was quite some downtime because of a certain worldwide event going on, but we're not out of the count. Here's what we got.
Yep. Man, the only thing that confused me was like if they're going to announce Skyward Sword HD, why not bring the rest of the games in HD to Switch? But still cool. Yeah. I still got hyped by that announcement.
Yeah, it was a new game at the least. I mean, well, a new revised version of the game. Yeah. So yeah, that was remarkably impressive. We'll be touching on more of those games soon when we get to their announcements, or their releases rather. But yeah, then as we mentioned earlier, we got Splatoon 3 here as well, which is huge. We can't undersell that. And again, was following up on the final Splatfest of the previous month. And unfortunately, we still haven't seen a whole lot of the campaign necessarily, but we hopefully will be in not too long, because I imagine the game's probably gonna be a mid-year release. I hope so.
It's gotta be a summer game, man. You gotta release it in the summer. It's a summer
Exactly.
game.
That's right. It's all about that. All right. Moving on. After the Nintendo Direct on February 23rd, we had the Persona 5 Strikers being released in the West. It had been previously released in Japan, so it was nice to finally get
for like a year.
Sorry?
I said it was out in Japan for a whole year.
Yeah, a whole year. I was like, that's how it used to be for every game back in the day, where every game was released in Japan a year plus earlier. Tom remembers those days.
Call me when Persona 5 is on Switch. Just
Hopefully.
Persona 5 Royal. Hopefully. I don't care. Oh my gosh. Just put it on Switch, please. I'm tired of asking.
One of these days.
February 25th, we got the release of Bravely Default 2, which is a game a lot of people were looking forward to, following up the successful Bravely Default. Did anyone here play it?
No,
I did not.
I've never played the Bravely games because I'm a coward. I'm not brave.
I played a demo for the first game, I believe, and I thought it was neat, but I never got around. It's always hard carving time out for a giant RPG, or JRPG especially.
I played the demo to the first game, and I died in the first battle, and I'm like, I'm never playing this series again.
On February 26th, to follow up the first Nintendo Direct in the year, we had a Pokemon Presents, in which it was celebrating 25 years of Pokemon, and included things like montages, concerts, mobile game events, and plenty more. We also got a new trailer for new Pokemon Snap. We got the announcements of Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, along with Pokemon Legends Arceus. So again, following up all these game announcements, we got three more in a way, big games here. Which is we found out so much about this month. Of course, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl came out. We'll touch on that more soon. And we're still waiting on Legends, so that's only a few weeks out at this point. So
Yep. Wild.
That's
Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
What, Tom?
I was gonna say it's kind of funny how sometimes we get the big titles way in advance, but a lot of Nintendo games are just like in that short 3 or 4 month window before release that we find out about them. And also 25th anniversary goes to show, like, I know it's a Pokemon company, but maybe Nintendo can't celebrate every, like, 5-year anniversary for games, like, expecting things for, like, Donkey Kong's 40th and stuff. Like, maybe we can't be expecting that.
Well, especially as we're going to find out, there were a ton of anniversaries this year, and to the point where we couldn't even keep up with all of them. Like, we'd like to celebrate them in some way, and we couldn't even cover them all, so... real quick, Triss, was February 26th, the day of the Pokemon Presents, was that the actual day, the proper day of the 25th anniversary, do you know? Or
let me...
No, it doesn't matter, don't worry about it.
Okay.
I was just going to comment...
I know that it was on a Saturday, was the actual Pokemon Day.
It was around then, though, right?
I don't know if they had it on the exact day, but yeah, it was right around
Assuming it was around then, what's cool is that, as we'd find out later, Pokemon Legends Arceus would actually release within that 25th year window, so continue to celebrate the 25 years. Which is pretty neat. All right, that covers it for February. Let's move on to March 2021. On March 4th, we had the Sakurai Presents Pyra and Mythra, in which we found out a lot more about it. And it would ultimately release... Was it that same day?
Yes, I believe it was the same day.
Surprise!
Yeah, I know. Always the best announcements. Our entire day is covered by Smash.
Exactly.
Yeah, did anyone here end up using Pyra Mythra a lot in their Smash playthroughs?
Balanced.
I did for a while. I actually really liked their playstyle, so I was for a while.
What did you say, Tom?
Balanced. I didn't just use... I would mix them into rotation, basically.
Okay, nice. You'd use random, and whenever they came up, you'd...
Well, not quite. I would kind of like rotate through all the newer DLC, usually while playing with my friends.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Yeah, I know that reveal, or I mean, they had already been revealed, but like, I know they made a lot of people happy. A lot of people are fans of Xenoblade, of course.
And it was after, like, Sakurai said, like, hey, Rex is not going to be in the game, here's a Mii fighter. And then it's just like, I know I told you guys Rex wasn't going to be in the game, but let me tell you about these 2 characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's effectively 2 characters in one, which is wild. Like, Sakurai does not love taking easy on himself. Like, he could have just done a single character, but nope, here's 2. two at a time.
Mm-hmm.
I probably could have sold them separately even, but that's not the Sakurai way. All right. Moving on to March 10th, it was Mario Day, which is such an amazing day because it's MAR10, which looks like IO. Get it?
Yep.
But what's funny is, wait, actually, I've got to understand the full timeline here. Did we know at this point that Mario was going to be dying shortly thereafter?
Yeah, they had all the way back from when 3D All-Stars was announced. They said
year.
it would be leaving on March 31st.
That's right, of course. Yeah, that makes sense. So we were celebrating Mario Day on the looming anniversary of it, or on the looming on his looming incoming imminent death, if you want to call it that, of course, Mario 3D All-Stars coming to an end, the Mario Game & Watch no longer being available in stores officially, at least, or shipped to stores, I imagine, among a few other things. But as part of this anniversary, the Animal Crossing Mario items would come out a few days later, and then we also got the announcement, separately, this is no longer Mario related, that Animal Crossing was getting a Build-A-Bear added to the stores, which was a neat surprise. So,
and there's a few of them now too. There's like 3 or 4 of them now.
What all are there? Do you know offhand?
Tom Nook, Isabelle, and KK Slider. I think there's another one. I don't remember that.
Got it.
Hope Tom Nook's the most expensive one.
Obviously. Of course it is. You actually have to pay it off for the rest of your life.
and the Build-A-Bear will come to life and break your kneecaps if you don't.
Yeah, you don't want to buy the optional cane accessory for it.
No. Golf club accessory.
March... yeah, baseball bat. March 18th was both one of the best and worst days of my life, because this was the official opening of Super Nintendo World after multiple delays, and it had been opened to the press earlier than that. We had a whole review of it before this point. This was the official opening day, and this was a bittersweet day for me, because I have been waiting my entire life for a Nintendo theme park, and it's finally here, and I can't freaking go to it, but it's in Japan! I still haven't gone. We're almost a year out from this point, and I still haven't gone to Super Nintendo World. The thing I've been waiting my entire life for, I can't go. I'm still upset. I'm getting annoyed all over again, everyone.
Don't worry, it'll come out in California in like, how many years? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? I don't know anymore. It just takes forever every time. I went to Universal this year and I'm like, they look like they're almost done, but they're not.
Yeah, it's deceptive. They got all the inside. They have all the tech to do on the inside. Those buildings. So
it's Go ahead, Tom.
I was gonna say, it's such a disappointment because we waited years to go to for Super Nintendo World, and it's like, no, you can't go though.
Nope.
And
Thanks, pandemic.
And whenever they had a state of emergency over there, it would close down too. So, like, I mean, you could go there and wait, but there could be a chance that it's closed by the time you can go to it.
Yeah,
This is why everyone needs to get vaccinated, so I can go to Super Nintendo World. Please get vaccinated so I can go. I've been waiting my life for this, my entire life. All right.
Oh, man.
On March 20th, we had Animal Crossing New Horizons' first anniversary, a year after its release. Unfortunately, I imagine by this point, for many people, that they had kind of dropped off the game because there had not been much in the way of changes. Yep, me too. I had dropped off actually well before this point even. And unfortunately, it wouldn't be until months later that we would find out, oh, there actually is more content coming to the game. So it was neat that we made it to a year. Like, it came, speaking of the pandemic, it came at the perfect time in 2020 to help provide a distraction from the pandemic. Unfortunately, it didn't provide too long of a distraction, I think, for some people. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I only played it for about a month, which is still like, I guess I put in 100 hours in that game still.
yeah, it's still a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, I kind of just like got bored after a month. I'm like, this is from someone who really loves New Leaf, and then I got New Horizons, and I'm like, something's missing here. There's something missing.
All right, moving on to March 22nd, we had the announcement that there was a Pikmin mobile app incoming. We didn't know exactly what it was going to be yet, though I believe there might have been some leaks around here.
We knew it was with Niantic, so
Right.
the creators of Pokemon Go, so we knew it was going to be a game like that, but that was really all we had on it at the time.
So yeah, we're trying to, I think I recall us trying to speculate, like, what kind of game could they make of Pikmin? And I don't think the game we ended up with was quite what any of us was expecting. But
Yeah. What could this blossom into?
exactly. So we'll talk some more on that once we get to the game's release. March 26th, we had Monster Hunter Rise releasing on Nintendo Switch, of which you reviewed, Triss, along with TJ,
Yep.
as I recall.
Yes, yeah, we had an interesting spin for that one because it was me with the whole newcomer perspective, but with Monster Hunter being the series it is, we also wanted the veteran perspective, which TJ is a massive veteran of. So we had like the whole like half and half of the review going over like all like the things newcomer, like a newcomer perspective and a veteran perspective. It was really fun to do, and honestly, it was a really, really fun game. It was a fantastic way to get into the series, and I really enjoyed it. And I was really enjoying playing with people after it came out for a while too.
That's great. Did anyone else here play it?
I always want to get into Monster Hunter, and then I never do. Yeah, I think I bought Generations Ultimate to prepare for this, and I don't know if that was the right game to start with, but then I just never picked up Monster Hunter Rise. So one of these days, maybe. But I just know like that game looked really pretty for a Switch game, and the graphics for Monster Hunter games always like get me think, ooh, I like graphics, so maybe I'll play this. And then I just don't get into the gameplay whatsoever. It just is completely foreign to me.
It's complicated. It actually really is complicated.
Yeah.
It looks a little intimidating, I think. So it's yeah, that's partially why I haven't gotten into it myself. It's like, I don't know if I want to spend that much time to learn all its systems, you know.
I was gonna say real quick, I have one friend who would always buy like every Monster Hunter, then like drop it shortly after, and like he finally gave up on this one. I'm like, no, this was good one.
One of the best ones.
Didn't they have a grapple hook too or something?
Yes, it has something called the wire bug, which basically functions like a grappling hook.
Yes. There you go, Joey. That's all you need. You got your
I have
grapple
another
hook.
clip to add to my video that I still haven't finished editing.
All right, this brings us to March 31st, the official day that Mario dies. This, of course, was not an official thing, but it's what a lot of people started calling it that, being Mario's death day, or something of that nature, because this was the day the Mario 35th anniversary came to an end. Mario 3D All-Stars is no longer available digitally or officially in stores, though apparently you can still find it in some places. The Mario Game & Watch was no longer officially available either, and Super Mario Bros. 35 came to an end. So, yeah, this was the day that it seemed like Nintendo was just killing off Mario for whatever reason, and we really leaned into this, with Joey hosting an entire funeral and eulogy for Mario, which is an amazing video. It was so funny. I still watch it now, and it's hilarious.
It was nerve-wracking being on that stage, man.
Yeah.
So much stuff, and Tom had to ask his question.
Wasn't there like a tennis game or something coming out?
Right? You know, it's so funny. I totally forgot it was a golf game, and I'm like, oh no.
It's like the indifference, right? Like it's better being a tennis game than that. But
Exactly.
It actually seemed intentional. Like we meant, that we're intentionally being indifferent to Mario's death.
I forget what it was real quick, that we were gonna have like just a 3D dead Mario in the casket. Then I thought of the 2D Mario sprite.
I love the Mario sprite.
Oh man.
So good.
It
Hopefully we're
was
displaying
really
it on
fun.
screen right now so people can see it. If you haven't watched the full video, go check it out. It's really funny.
I hope to do another eulogy for another franchise at some point.
Something that people are overacting about.
Something like that. Yeah.
Well, and kind of to that point, I did see some people were getting annoyed, like, oh, the joke's done and overplayed. Not with us in general, just as a thing. It's like, well, like some people were like, Mario's not dead. Look, they just announced Mario Super Rush, and it's like, no, duh. Like no one ever thought Nintendo was actually done with Mario.
Chris
Right.
Pratt's gonna be a ghost in the movie.
What do you think?
Like-
He came back to life at the end of the video, guys. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
They didn't stay that long for the video, sadly.
Nope. And then this was also the day that the Fire Emblem the original Fire Emblem Famicom game was ported to Nintendo Switch earlier, I think the previous year. This is also the day it was no longer available, which I actually forgot until this very moment. Because that was actually a really neat little thing. They actually retranslated the game for English audiences for a game most people had never played before. So that was super neat.
It was really impressive, and I was really excited that they did that. I didn't get to really play it that much, but it was exciting that they were actually recognizing the series history by localizing some of the Japanese-only things with it, and Japanese-only games. And it gave hope to some other ones, but nothing yet.
Right, and it is sad that they stopped selling it because I think it should just be available if you want to play it. Like, I hope that they roll into it. Maybe they'll roll it into the Nintendo Switch Online service, which would make a ton of sense. Just give it some box art, throw it on the NES app, and there you go.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of things ending real quick, I do want to circle back to Mario 35 because that was such a fun game. And I remember us all thinking at the time, like, what's going to replace it? There has to be something to replace it, right? And we wouldn't know what that would be until a few days later on April 6th. We're going to April now. April 6th, Pac-Man 99 was announced. And I have to say, starting off, I had a blast with this game. It was a lot of fun. It just seemed like a really kind of like in-depth experience that I never returned to again. For whatever reason, there was something about it, for as much as I enjoyed it in the moment, it just didn't pull me back, and I don't know why that was. Unlike Mario 35 and Tetris 99, where I would go back to them I'm still playing Tetris 99 to this day, so...
I totally forgot Pac-Man 99 existed. I'm going to be real with you.
I think part of it might be because there's other similar Pac-Man games, like the Championship Edition ones, that were really good. And so it just wasn't quite as new, and like Pac-Man just doesn't have the same allure as Mario does for people.
You know what's funny, Andre? You and I played that game at a Bandai Namco event before I was even at GameXplain. Do you remember that?
Wait, I remember the event. They had... Wait,
You and
are
I
sure not
played
thinking-
Pac-Man Championships. Was what I'm talking about, not 99.
Yeah, Championship Edition 2, right? Or
Yeah.
the Switch version of it, right?
You were at the Bandai Namco event. I was at the Bandai Namco event. We played together. It was awesome.
I don't know if I remember playing with you specifically. I do remember that, though. That's funny. That's awesome. Yeah.
That's
And
okay.
then we had met. I know we had met at E3 before the year before that, maybe 2 years before that. So
Yeah, that was awesome.
yeah, good times. It was
times.
all leading to this past year, Joey.
It's
We
like
just
it was
didn't know
meant to be.
Pac-Man 99 was such a fun game. I also kind of dropped off of it probably like a couple months later, and I think it really was instead of like Tetris 99 where it had like constant events bringing you back to it, or Mario Bros 35 where it had the deadline so you wanted to keep playing as long as you could. Pac-Man 99 had all this themed DLC available like out the door, and that was basically it. They didn't really do events or any other bigger things with it to keep drawing attention to it.
Right. Exactly.
A Metroid-themed Pac-Man game, man. Can you imagine?
Oh, you're playing as like a morph ball or something?
And there's Metroids following you instead of
Yeah,
ghosts?
there you go.
That'd be cool.
Oh, man.
You got
There
the
we
ice
go.
beam. Oh, take that.
Yeah.
I kind of love this idea that now. This needs to happen.
Oh, it does.
All right. February 13th. Oh, sorry. April 13th. We had the release.
We did skip on the same day Pac-Man 99
Oh, you're
was
right.
announced. It was confirmed that E3 would be coming back this year because it wasn't in 2020, and it was coming back as an online-only event. And this was both exciting and kept everybody very skeptical because people did not know how to take this news. This was very different.
I'm still
than
skeptical
expected.
on it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I still don't even know what came of that.
Yeah.
Because we end up having events around then, but none of them seemed particularly E3 related, and these E3 websites seemed borderline worthless during this whole thing.
They were so worthless. What was the point of the profile? What was the point of that?
Yeah,
To get my
I don't know,
address
why
leaked again?
To dox you again, yeah.
Why to make an avatar? Yeah, no idea. We'll touch on more on that, I'm sure, once we get to the E3's proper date in June. But we also, so shortly thereafter, though, we had April 13th being with the release of Ask Iwata, Words of Wisdom from Satoru Iwata, Nintendo's legendary CEO. And yeah, that me and Tom both read that book, and it was a fabulous book. It collects a lot of Iwata's writings over the years, some translated into English for the first time, while adding, I think, like a foreword from the creator of Mother, or maybe I think it was an afterword. Is that what you call it? Postword?
He had
epilogue.
He kind of had some remarks later on, like they interviewed him.
I think Reggie had the foreword, right? Or Miyamoto. Someone had a foreword. I forget who. Anyways, it's a great book. I highly encourage you reading it. Offer some insight into Iwata's, into Iwata's philosophies, how he ran the business, and it's just really insightful.
Yeah, great leader, really. When he like more so than what I knew before. So.
Yeah. Exactly. Highly encourage anyone who was a fan of Iwata to check it out. Or even if you're not a fan, check it out. Maybe you'll be a fan. The next day, we had on April 14th, we had an Indie World showcase, and it featured games like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge, which I don't think has come out yet still, right?
Nope. People were really hoping to hear about it this past Indie World, but nope, not yet.
Yeah, that's sad. Fez was shadow dropped. Sorry, I'm looking at here. I'm like, Fez Shadow. What is Fez
shadow drop? Like, wow, this is like you go in another dimension and shadows drop, and that's the gimmick.
That sounds amazing. I still need to play Fez. This is. I'm glad I'm seeing this, but I need to go back and play it. I know a lot of people are huge fans of Fez, so.
I got news about the sequel. I'm sorry.
Oh no. Well, speaking of sequels, we also had Oxenfree 2 Lost Signals. Was it announced or released?
Announced. It's still
Okay.
not. I don't know what's going on with that game.
I think they said 2022.
Okay. Speaking of 20s, on April 20th, we had Lego Luigi announced. I believe there had been a leak of this a little bit earlier.
Yep.
But we finally got this announced, and it seems to be based around, or it was based around Luigi's Mansion, more specifically, proving that Lego Mario has been a huge success. They're continuing to build new Lego sets, and I think it's awesome that Luigi got his own. Did anyone end up picking up Lego Luigi, or?
No.
Okay.
Here's
I completely forgot this was when it was announced too. I had some other things going on around this time.
Oh yeah, just a little. Your background is kind of ties into it.
A little bit.
Yeah.
They really, really were smart announcing the green Mario Luigi on 420. Going on. What's next?
no. With Luigi, it wasn't it Mario like updating and going like Luigi or something
Yes.
as a spoiler.
That was it.
Oh
right.
my gosh, that was crazy.
So then we had the super creepy thumbnail.
Yeah, that was an awesome way of doing it. It seemed really weird with Mario just randomly shouting out Luigi, and it was creepy, funny. It was that was a neat way of handling the announcement.
That was so strange.
All right, the next day, April 21st, we got the announcement of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Although we didn't get the trailer until a week later.
Yeah,
evidently.
so it was specifically posted on like Capcom's website that day as like a blog post basically, but it took about a week for like the news of it to actually break anywhere. I don't think anyone reported it till the next day, and trailers didn't start coming out till the next week. So it was a little awkward, but that was the proper day that they announced it, and that was such a huge deal because these games were Japanese exclusive on the 3DS for a while, and finally getting localized and brought to modern consoles and bundled together. This was really, really big deal for Ace Attorney's 20th anniversary this year. So people were very, very excited from that. I know I was.
Quite the case.
And I'm sure we'll touch on more on that when we get to its release date. On April 27th, I keep wanting to call April February for some reason. And April 27th, out of nowhere, Super Mario Party got an online update. I never expected this. I never thought we'd get an online Mario Party game. Period. Let alone the fact that an older one at this point to be updated with it. But that was super cool. It wasn't perfect. If someone disconnected, you'll quit the entire game. There was often a fair amount of lag at times if someone had a poor connection. But on the whole, it was still awesome to see Nintendo supporting a game that came out years earlier at this point. Especially, little do we know, just a few months before, a better game would be coming out, a better Mario Party with an overhauled online mode itself. I still don't know why this happened, but I'm so glad it did, though. It was really neat of Nintendo to do that.
I feel pretty confident this was to test, this was like server testing. This was to test out the online connection, or maybe to see if the older one can handle it, because I know around this time Nintendo was working on moving to a newer online framework. I think Monster Hunter was the first thing to use it. I think this was them testing if their current one could handle Mario Party, to kind of help them figure that out for the new game. But also, you mentioned about if anyone disconnected, it would just close the whole game. We did that stream where it was Andre, Tom, Chris, and I, before when Chris was still part of the team, and on the final turn was when it disconnected us. It was so disappointing.
Tragic.
Yep. That's why it actually kind of promoted using fewer turns. That way you had less of a chance of that happening. But yeah, it sucked. It was a huge drag. With it quitting the entire game, you lost all your progress, which thankfully Mario Party Superstars would address, and we'll be touching on that later in the year, later in this video, and also in the year.
Yes.
April 30th, new Pokemon Snap released, a game I had been waiting almost my entire life for, almost as long as Super Nintendo World. We finally got a sequel to Pokemon Snap, and it was pretty good. It wasn't amazing, it didn't blow me away, I was hoping it would, but it was still a solid sequel to a game that we never expected to see a sequel to. In fact, to the point that the people at Pokemon Company had specifically said, we don't see the point of making a sequel. Everyone's got a phone everyone's got a camera these days on their phone.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're missing the point. Can we take pictures of Pokemon on our phones? I don't think so.
Pokemon Go? But yeah.
So, yeah. Did anyone else play much Pokemon Snap? Or
I did play a bit of this. I didn't get to play too much. There was other things going on in my life at the time that I needed to sort out. But it was really nice to have this, and I think it was fun. I didn't love this game, but I also, looking back, I feel like this game really worked as part of the Pokemon 25th celebration, the 25th anniversary celebration. I feel like releasing this any other time, it would have been successful, but I feel like this was a perfect game to release when celebrating the series.
Yeah,
right.
I played a bit, and it's like, why wasn't this on Wii U? But
when I played Captain Toad with the mine carts, I was just like, oh, this would be great for Pokemon Snap.
Yeah. Yep.
Doesn't happen.
And Captain Toad's minecart level supported Labo VR, which Pokemon Snap doesn't for whatever reason.
That
I don't know why it doesn't support the camera. I'm upset all over again.
It's been a stressful year for all of us.
It very much so, yes. This was worse than the pandemic. Not supporting an accessory made for it. All right, let's move into May. May 5th, when we found out about a game in which I could theoretically make my own Pokemon Snap, being Game Builder Garage. Nintendo announced their very own game creator, which is pretty freaking wild, and I was excited from the get-go. I'm like, I was a huge fan of Super Mario Maker, especially the original, and being able to make my own games when it's something I've wanted to do, but haven't wanted to learn programming to do it, sounded awesome. So I was super excited for this game to come up, which I think would release the following month, so I'll have more to say about it then, I'm sure.
Yeah, Andre looked at the trailer and said, I'm going to make 500 videos about this game, man.
You know it. I'm gonna make people are going to be sick of this game when I'm done with it.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, but the creations of that game, I've watched some of your videos, and yeah, they are nuts. It's so
they're
cool.
ridiculous. What people can do with that game is wild, especially given the limitations of the game. How are people able to create things of this nature in it? Someone made a whole Metal Gear Solid series in it, with stealth elements and all kinds of boss fights. It's wild.
It's impressive.
It is.
That was impressive. Or it's here's Sonic, here's Monkey Ball. It's multiple takes of it. Wow, you guys really impressive. Some people in our Discord are still using it, and it's just a great tool for people to get their hands into game creation.
Speaking of our Discord, we have a great community over there, including for Game Builder Garage. We'll probably post a link in the description below if you want to join our Discord. It's got a limited amount of invites, so make sure to check it out soon if you want to join. So, moving on to May 7th. We discovered or found out about a strange new render of Waluigi that was featured in Nintendo Minute, Nintendo's own YouTube series in which they play or do various Nintendo-related things. Tris, can you tell us a little bit more about this one, or?
Yeah, so this one was just strange. So in a Nintendo Minute meant to promote the new blue Switch Lite, we had a Waluigi render, and it was the strangest Waluigi. Because we still haven't seen what this Waluigi with his tongue out in a weird pose with a rose. We still don't know what this is tied to. If it's some marketing render, we have not seen this used anywhere else.
Why does Waluigi need a reason to exist, Tris?
We got 90K views on that news update.
I get notifications from Nintendo. I don't always check them, but that one I did, and I came across the render right away. It's like it was meant for me to see it as like thumbnail creators around the world rejoiced at this. Yes. So.
I think what's so weird about it too is it has like the exact quality of like the renders that they used for like the Mario Party games. So this was used to fuel speculation for a new Mario Party, even though in the end it wasn't even related.
Right.
If they really made that render for that Nintendo Minute episode, though. I
hope so.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
It truly is. It truly is. Speaking of wonderful things, on May 14th, we got the official release of Famicom Detective Club 1 and 2, which, like Fire Emblem before that we were discussing earlier, was a game that never released in America, or I don't think it released outside Japan in English, or in English, period. So this was a brand new remaster, not even a remaster, like a remake of the game, games, I should say, featuring new English translation, some new modern features, and it was just neat to see. I played a little bit of it, not quite my type of game, but I'm glad it exists, and I'm glad people can experience it, including possibly, you may want to look into it if you haven't already, Joey, because it's made by the person who came up with Metroid. Yeah.
Yoshio Sakamoto,
that's right.
I'm wondering about that, if that was part of the deal about it, or they did that to kind of promote him as a creator so people know who he is and later in the year when Metroid Dread was announced. I'm wondering if that was like a tie-in.
Or maybe Nintendo was like, listen, Sakamoto, we'll fund your little Metroid 5 but not until you remake Famicom Detective Club from the ground up.
Exactly.
It is a remake, right? Or is it like...
Yeah.
It's a remake. All new assets, yeah. It's definitely
called... Did that originally release on the Famicom? Is that what it's called, Detective?
Yeah, Famicom.
Yep.
I
figured.
So the art style was like the very limited graphics back in the day. So it's got all new art now. So it's a very faithful remake, I think is a way to put it. Like it's not like a Resident Evil style remake where they redo the game. It's still the same basic gameplay, but just looking much better than ever.
I wonder how it looks on the Famicom. Like, geez, I haven't looked up anything about this game really.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty impressive for the Famicom, but definitely like way more basic art compared to what we have now.
Yeah.
Just a week later, we had Miitopia out on Switch, a 3DS port, and you covered this one, Tris, right?
Yeah, this one was a lot of fun. I really like the Mii games. They just tend to be really silly, but I missed out on this one originally on the 3DS. So I was actually really excited to try it out this time, and I loved my time with this game. Like I don't remember the exact score that I gave it, but I know, like looking back, it was something I really enjoyed this year. And I love the inside jokes that come out of using all your friends as your teammates, as your party members, and the silly antics they get into. It was a lot of fun, but I think the main highlight for like everyone regarding this game was how in-depth the Mii creator was, and how people were spending dozens of hours recreating iconic game characters, or not even game characters, like people, like anything. Almost hyper-realistic ways. It was ridiculous, but it was incredible.
Yeah, no, I saw some of those Miis. I think we did a couple videos featuring those Miis, and it's hilarious. Like, I like, too, that you can bring up a random assortment of Miis that people have created to incorporate them into your own game if you don't want to spend time making one yourself. And yeah, like, I was playing the demo. I had, like, just this really wild, eclectic cast. I think I had Sonic and a Terminator on my team, RoboCop maybe, I forget. It's just a wild thing, and it's just a really charming game overall, it seems. So, then a few days after that, on May 24th, we had Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne HD Remaster being released on the Switch.
What a name.
Sorry?
What a name.
I know, God, I'm surprised I made it through all the way without stuttering. We had, I believe, we had Patrick, I think, review that one, and I think they were pretty big pretty big fan of it. It sounds like. Did anyone else here play it by chance, or?
I played a bit of it. Tom, I think Tom played the same amount that I did for the preview.
For the preview, right, or something?
Yep.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, we both played the preview embargo amount of it, and I really liked what I played. It's difficult. I think Tom might be able to test. It's the game's very punishing at times. It's pretty difficult.
I guess I must have been going around getting too many things. I didn't have too much problem in the small window at the beginning. I'm sure it gets tougher later, but I did enjoy the sort of negotiating with demons and getting them on your team.
Yeah.
That was a super interesting aspect of that game.
Yeah, it's a neat concept. And just another lengthy adventure on Switch. So it's something, just one of the many games that were coming out. So May 26th, we got the news that Roger Craig Smith was back as Sonic, apparently. So a few months after we thought he wasn't, he's back. So what a roller coaster that was.
Yeah.
It's so strange.
Yeah. Why put us through that?
How dare you? How dare you, Sega?
And while we're on the topic of Sonic news, the next day we had the Sonic Central event on May 27th, which featured the announcement of Sonic Colors for release on June 23rd. Wait.
No, it was.
No, I'm sorry. No. Yeah, we had the Sonic concert announcement June 23rd. I'm like, that seems a little too long ago. We had Sonic Colors. We had the announcement of Sonic Colors Ultimate for September 7th, which of course would have its own issues, which we may get to. Then Sonic Origins Classic Collection was announced for 2022, so we're waiting on that still. And then we had a super tiny tease for what would become Sonic Frontiers, the next major Sonic game, which we just recently found out more on. And the thing I remember most about this tease is how angry it made Joey.
I was so furious. I was like, what was that? You don't even give us a title.
I mean a title.
That was ridiculous.
Fun fact, the picture behind Triss actually isn't Fury Bowser. That actually is Fury Joey from the day of that announcement.
Yes. You know, my favorite part of the announcement was the King Ice, Sonic, the King Ice accessories.
The bling?
Oh, that was great.
Bling.
Yes, the Knuckles bling, the Shadow bling, all the bling. So good.
All right, moving into June, the final month of part 1 of our discussion. On June 2nd, Nintendo announced their plans for E3, so we'll be touching on those more soon after we actually saw the E3 events. On June 11th, we got the release of Game Builder Garage, which is like the worst possible time for me, at least, as one who covers games. They released a game that can allow people to make their own games, an infinite amount of games, right before E3 when they're announcing more game announcements. Like, no, I want to cover more Game Builder Garage. But in short, I think I was the one who reviewed it. I ended up liking it. I thought it had some really great systems, but it had some pretty hard limits, and some of those systems are a little annoying to work within. So I ultimately fell off of it because despite how easy it was to make games, it's still a very complicated process, which wasn't made incredibly easy by the interface they went with, and I think they could have improved it more. I still think it's a remarkable game. It's great as like a first-time game-building app. The things, as we touched on earlier, people are making are incredibly impressive. Unfortunately, it was just a little too cumbersome for me to really get into. Like, I spent dozens of hours on the game I'll never finish, being a Blast Core remake. Because my the way it works is you connect a bunch of nodes. My screen is turning into a complete freaking mess to the point I didn't even know what was happening anymore in my own game. So
welcome to game development, Andre.
Yeah.
Because that's it. I should have had an official delay for my game and finish it 5 years from now.
You should put out a statement in yellow with a yellow background.
It's just the grid of Game Builder Garage, though. It's a Cyberpunk.
I love it. June, the color scheme works out perfectly for Game Builder Garage.
It does.
On June 12th, this was before E3, right?
This was Ubisoft's E3 showcase.
Okay.
Yep.
This is
the
right.
Ubisoft show.
It was still
the beginning of the E3, basically.
Still technically before E3, yeah.
Yeah, we had Ubisoft's showcase in which they had Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope being officially announced. Now, it unfortunately had leaked, I think the day before, maybe.
Yep.
Where Nintendo, of all companies, I think, had posted an early site, an early version or an early entry for the game.
I think it was early that morning. I think it was the same day, but I think it was earlier in the morning. Yeah.
So it had photos of the game, a complete rundown of the game. Which, if I were you, like Nintendo is super anal about early announcements, and here they are spoiling one of their most trusted third parties. Ubisoft for once didn't leak it themselves, amazingly.
Man, Ubisoft must have been like, of all the companies, Nintendo, the one who keeps things so close to their chest, and you had to leak ours.
It's like, we expect Walmart Canada, but this?
Exactly. So, yeah, this was an awesome announcement to finally have. I think a lot of people had been expecting a sequel to the original Mario plus Rabbids at some point. It was a great game. I love that we're getting a sequel, and we don't have a release date for it yet beyond 2022, right?
Is it early 2022? I don't know.
It might be early 2022.
Yeah.
First half?
So, yeah, maybe. We'll have more information about that in our 2022 predictions discussion as well. But yeah, the trailer they revealed looked great, had some awesome cinematics. It was really fun. It captures the same humor as before, but they're broadening the scope of the game now with like larger worlds, in the space theme. It looks really cool. I can't wait to play it. So
Kirkhope again, too, I believe.
Grant Kirkhope, yes,
Yep.
The biggest announcement. How could we forget? Of course, he was back, composing the game from working, from most famously working at Rare in the past. So now Platonic largely, and elsewhere as well, of course. On June 15th, we had Nintendo's E3 showcase, whatever they end up calling it, in which we got someone's got to help me with this Tekken character's name. I forgot how to pronounce it. Kazuya, thank you.
Kazuya.
Being revealed for Smash Ultimate as DLC. Then we got Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania being announced through an amazing trailer because that evoked or straight up parodied 2001 Space Odyssey, which is amazing because Joey and I had just literally been talking about this, the day before or that morning even?
That morning. It was that morning. I kid you not.
I was like, yeah, for whatever reason, it just randomly come up where Joey's like, I've never seen this movie. I'm like, you should go watch it. And then there it is, as in trailer form. It was great.
Like it was meant to be.
Indeed. Beyond this, Mario Party Superstars was announced, a sequel to, effectively the latest game in the series, following up on the online update from earlier in the year. Metroid Dread was announced, and the way they showcased this was amazing because they first announced it as Metroid 5, which got a ton of hype by itself. Finally, a new proper 2D Metroid game, but then they ended it with Metroid Dread, being a game that had been rumored for over a decade. Finally here. I don't know if a game has ever been able to get a title reveal twice. Has any game pulled that off before?
Not really. It's weird.
It's amazing.
Too,
yeah, it's awesome that they were able to do that.
It's not even like Dread was officially announced beforehand, too, but we all knew it. We all knew that game existed at some point, and then, bang, there it was.
Exactly. We found out Cruisin' Blast was coming to Switch from the arcades, which is a great game. We'll have more to say about that later when it releases. WarioWare Get Together was also announced. Then we found out Shin Megami Tensei 5 would be releasing on November 12th. Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp was announced. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity DLC, the first DLC pack, will be coming on June 18th. The Legend of Zelda Game & Watch was revealed, which is a super cool thing that I thought I had right next to me, but I don't, so you can't grab it. And then we got a new Breath of the Wild 2 trailer, which somehow looked both amazing and left us more confused than ever before, which is impressive. So looking back, that's a pretty freaking solid E3, following up on a really strong Direct just a few months earlier.
Yeah, that was great. That was a great Direct. And it was already great when they announced Metroid Dread for me, because it's just like year after year of being burned as a Metroid fan from Nintendo. Aside from the Prime 4 announcement, that was one of the few E3s where I was just like, yes, thank you. But yeah, I understand some people feeling burned by that Direct, especially since I know a lot of people were really thinking that we were going to see Breath of the Wild 2, not just see it, but see it release this year.
Yeah.
And I understand them getting burned, especially since there was no title reveal. But I'm just sitting here I'm gonna be a little selfish right now and just say now you know how Metroid fans have felt for a decade. So there you go.
Yeah, Metroid Dread would end up becoming many people's favorite game of the year, even. So that was a huge announcement. A lot of the other announcements were a little bit on the smaller side of things, but we had a fair amount of them, all of which would release by the end of the year. I think the only thing that we touched on just now that hasn't released yet is Breath of the Wild 2. So
and
Advance Wars, yeah.
Oh, and Advance Wars, right.
Yeah, Advance Wars was a big deal. I was watching that trailer wait a minute. We haven't seen an Advance Wars game in so long. And they're rebooting 1 and 2.
And seeing it being made by Way Forward too is just a perfect collaboration. It makes sense, and I love seeing Nintendo reach out to developers to work with their own IPs, and it offers hope, perhaps, to maybe F-Zero, maybe one of these days,
maybe.
please.
Totally.
That would
there
be
was
nice.
Metroid and Advance Wars in that Direct. There's just so much hope for other dead, quote unquote, Nintendo franchises.
Yeah, for me personally, it's wow, what a great Direct. And other people, it's where's my Zelda and Mario? It's I don't care.
Exactly.
And even then, like this direct, this was probably one of my favorite E3s we had in quite some time from Nintendo. I mean, Mario Party alone, like, was so exciting to me. But our first look at Breath of the Wild 2 in 2 years. I mean, we also had a little bit more on like Skyward Sword HD, which we knew was coming already. But it's like there was so many exciting things here that it was wild to me that Smash felt like one of the least interesting announcements, which is normally one of the more hyped ones.
Yeah.
There was so much exciting news here that Smash was the one I was like, okay, let me focus on the other things. And that just doesn't happen. So.
No. Yep, absolutely. All right, well, moving past E3, so we'll have more to touch on most of those games soon. On June 17th, we got a new Pokemon game the announcement of a new Pokemon game being Pokemon Unite that came later in the summer. So we'll have more to say about that soon, I'm sure. On June 23rd, we had the Sonic's 30th Anniversary Symphony, which is, I believe, an online-only event, which is super cool. It seemed to take the internet by storm during its course. I actually missed it, unfortunately. I caught the tail end of it. The tail's end of it. But yeah, that was super neat. I love that they did that, and it's like, I wish Nintendo would, again, take a page out of Sega's book. Give us a Mario concert online for the 35th anniversary. How cool would that be, you know?
Give us the Zelda Symphony of the Goddesses returning for Zelda's 35th anniversary online. But no, they did not.
No, that would have been amazing. Yep. On June 29th, we got the... and finally, actually, on June 29th, we got Sakurai presents Kazuya for Smash Brothers, giving us an in-depth look at the character, which would release... When would that release, Tris? Was that the same day?
I think that was same day, yes.
Okay. Yeah, did we end up using him much?
I did not. Too complicated for me.
I did a bit, but I love the stage that Kazuya had in the
That's
Japanese
a fun stage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that. With the breakable walls and that kind of extends the playing field, that's really fun.
Yeah.
So, all right.
We did miss Mario Golf Super Rush releasing on June 25th.
Oh, yes, we did. I overlooked that.
You went right over it.
So we're gonna go back to that's a good way. That's a better one to end on anyway. So yes, a few days before Sakurai Presents, we had Mario Golf Super Rush that dropped on Switch, and that was I think, was that the one that reviewed, or did you, Tris?
You did, because I was getting ready for my wedding then.
That's right. Busy year.
Yeah.
Yeah, Super Rush. I thought it was a really solid game. It incorporated some really cool new modes. The Super Rush element was great. It's hard to go back to standard golf after that. Platforming in a Mario Golf game just kind of makes sense. It adds a whole new element, makes it feel more dynamic. I love the direct interactivity you have with other characters. They've more recently added new stuff to the game, which we'll touch on later. But out of the gate, it seemed to be a much stronger game than Mario Tennis Aces was, which is nice to see. So yeah, Mario Golf Super Rush was a lot of fun.
Yeah, Mario Golf Super Rush was really, really, like, it was a surprise. Like, I was excited for it. I didn't expect to have as much fun as I did with it. I don't go back to it that much. It was more like a small burst of fun, but I really enjoyed the roster it had, and though I never felt compelled to play the story mode, I still haven't, but I played a lot of speed golf. Like, I really like the speed golf, and because this released the day before my wedding, what we actually did at, like, the reception afterwards, one of our friends brought a big, like, projector. So we hooked up the Switch to the projector, and we were all rotating out playing speed golf. It was really fun, actually. That was all of us getting to check out Mario Golf for the first time, and it was just ridiculous.
That's awesome. If only there was a Peach's birthday cake or Peach's cake level, you could have played on that, and it would have been perfect for the wedding. So
that would have been great.
Could have sliced your way through that cake. All right, everyone. That is the first half of 2021. That's going to wrap it up for us in part 1. We'll be back with part 2 very soon, in which we'll cover the rest of 2021, in which we had some pretty major releases to discuss and some other big news updates. Should be a lot of fun. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned to GameXplain very shortly for more on our year in review for 2021 and everything else Nintendo as well. We'll catch you later. Bye, everyone.